Clinton, Platte County, you are now under a tornado warning. And again, this goes until about 11:30 or so for this evening. And the area of concern is right in through here, just towards the south and east of the Ridgely area, now approaching Trimble. That's 169 right there. So that's why we want you folks towards the Trimble area to go ahead and take cover from the storm. Meteorologist Jacob Lanier and I have been watching these little eddies, these little, as we say in the business, mesovortices, trying to develop. This one has cropped up very quickly. Jacob.
Yeah, Joe, and we kind of been watching this rotating area all the way back when it was in Leavenworth County near Baser and Linwood. So this is this one tornado warning now on the north side of the Kansas City metro. The entire city here, all 5 metro counties and really all the way down through Butler and Lacine under severe thunderstorm warnings until at least 11:30, and everyone else is under the tornado watch. That goes until 4 a.m. So the current situation here, we have a lot of thunderstorms. Seen a few reports of some damaging winds out near Baldwin City, Miami, southern Johnson County, 40 to 65 miles per hour from downtown Kansas City further south towards the state line. But the reason why we're tracking this warning is up here in the Northland. So it's for Edgerton, Lathrop, Plattsburgh, Smithville, Clay, Clinton, and Platte counties here until 11:30, as the rotation is really kind of right on top of 169 highway just north of Smithville. So again, this is the zone that we're watching for rotation. I'm going to zoom in and put an updated storm track on this for us as it's moving off towards the north and east. So the tornado that could possibly be on the ground right now is seconds away from crossing over 169 highway there at Trimble. So this is the rotation we're watching. It's moving up towards the north and east. Westbridge at 11:15. Plattsburgh, the ETA is 11:19, Lathrop there by 11:25. So what I want to do is zoom in on this rotating couplet and this tornado warning and see exactly how fast some of the winds are looking right now. And when we query these, the reds, we're looking from our actual terminal Doppler radar up at KCI Airport. So we're actually pretty close to the base of this rotating thunderstorm. So these should be some decently good estimates of our rotating winds. We have 40 miles per hour moving towards the east, 35 miles per hour going towards the west, now up to 45 miles per hour. So that's about 70 to 80 mile per hour rotation here. And this storm that is between Ridgely and Trimble right now kind of entering southwestern Clinton County. So we're getting some updates here. Even if there's not a tornado on the ground, which we're assuming there is, there could still be significant damaging winds with this. Right now, this wind coming out about 60 miles per hour or stronger. So damaging winds could be a threat with this. And the storm is crossing 169 highway right now near Trimble. So again, Trimble and southern Clinton County in your safe place. Smithville, just give it 1 or 2 more minutes and then we should be in the all clear. It does look like now that Platte County is all clear from this storm as it's moving up towards the north and the east away from Ridgely and Camden Point. So downstream, if this holds together, Westbridge, Plattsburgh, go ahead and seek your tornado shelter. Again, the kids might be asleep. Let's go ahead and just get to an interior room, the closet, your bathroom maybe with as little windows or doors as possible to the outside. A basement's really the best place if you have that. Joe, we're getting some updates from the National Weather Service down at Kansas City. What are we seeing regarding this storm?
So I want to kind of give you a broader view right now as we continue to watch that Trimble situation, regardless of whether or not there's a tornado on the ground or not, hopefully not, but we are seeing some very strong straight line winds heading towards the Trimble area, 50, 60, maybe close to 70 miles an hour. So Trimble's about to get a blow. Meanwhile, we're keeping an eye on other storms that are down further towards the south from Kansas City point southward, particularly down into Cass County, where we're starting to see some little areas of rotation as well. My colleagues at the National Weather Service keeping an eye to the sky, if you will, concerning this potential. This is going to be down towards, let's say, just west of I-49 into Cass County. And we're going to stop this just to see if we could find anything. And the area that we're watching right now, I would probably say, is that little thing just towards the south of Freeman. Kind of tough to make out, but maybe something right in through here. Also a little something right up between Lake Annette and Freeman, Missouri. That looks to be a little bit more broad. No tornado warnings are in effect for this particular cell, but we do have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for this cell as it continues to move off towards the east. So please be alert to this potential of not only these little quick spin ups, and I know we've used that phrase, quick spin-ups now, probably about 1,000 times, but that's literally what this is a quick little spin-up. And we're going to get back to Jacob here about the Trimble situation here in just a second. But on a broader view, for those of you who live in western Johnson County, western portions of Miami County, anything west of here, so Olathe, you're done. Spring Hill, you're done. Paola, you're done with the threat of severe weather. Leavenworth, you're done with the threat of severe weather. Bonner Springs, you're done with the threat of severe weather. It's all right along this leading edge. And again, that one particular cell that's now moving up into the southwest corner of Clinton County, that's the main concern right now. And that has prompted that tornado warning until 11:30. Jacob.
Yeah, that's right, Joe. So here's kind of the tornado warning polygon in red. So really, Platte County, we're kind of done with this. It's really kind of a Clinton County thing now. So the rotation is near Trimble, and it's heading up towards Plattsburgh, Lathrop in the warning as well, Holt as well. I think it's going to pass north of Holt there, up in extreme northern Clay County. About 116 highway there that kind of runs from, say, Dearborn and over towards Buchanan County to Lathrop. That's kind of the area that we're going to have to watch for this rotation to cross here within the next couple of minutes. Here's our latest wind mode or velocity. Again, we're looking pretty close to this storm from our terminal Doppler radar up at Kansas City International Airport. And the rotation is still pretty strong here between Trimble and Grayson. It has just crossed 169 highway near Southwest Highway Z. So that is where we're watching this rotation. And it's moving up towards the north and east. So I want to zoom in again here and kind of query the winds on this. Again, even if we're not seeing rotation, we could still be seeing damaging winds. Our radar right now estimating over 70-mile-per-hour winds. That could certainly cause at least straight line damage, downing power lines, some tree limbs. And so that's what we're going to have to keep an eye on, in addition to the potential for some rotating storms, as we're getting some updates from the National Weather Service. Joe, it looks like that with Trimble, they're getting maybe 75-mile-per-hour winds, kind of as we're estimating right here. So that's pretty close to the ground. So I think that we're probably going to see some type of at least straight line wind damage there in Trimble here in southern Clinton County, even if the rotation, which to me looks it's like maybe more transitioning to a damaging straight line event here from Trimble to Grayson to Westbridge. That's probably where we're going to see some wind damage out of this storm. So we still have the tornado warning. Platte County, by the way, removed completely from the warning now. This goes until 11:30, and really there's the chance for another spin up, as we've been calling them, but also damaging winds continue to be a threat. Joe, got an update?
Yeah, from Johnson County, 6,300 customers right now without power from these thunderstorms. As Jacob was analyzing, perhaps a broadening area, maybe not quite as focused into the Trimble area. If that storm is still packing winds of close to 70 or 75 miles an hour, that's the equivalent, whether it's straight line winds or not, that's the equivalent of an EF0 tornado, kind of like what we've seen off and on with many of these events that we've had over the last couple of weeks, what has proven to be a very active late April into early May. I want to do some storm tracking now for you as we take you into the metro area. And the first kind of area that at least right now is just kind of more or less perhaps producing some 40 to 60 mile an hour winds, is moving through the heart of Kansas City right now. We'll take you basically east-northeast with this. And again, these storms are starting to move a little bit quicker, as they usually do during this time of the evening. This is heading towards Blue Springs by about 11:26, Green Valley 11:31, Richmond 11:46, Norburn close to 12:05. Again, these thunderstorms in particular, despite the fact that we've got numerous severe thunderstorm warnings with these, are not really getting many reports of any strong winds or anything like that. A lot of lightning still, and like I said, as those storms move through Johnson County, they were producing some power outages down towards Johnson County. We'll take you a little further south and track this particular part of the line of storms. And again, this is just one big old squall line as it continues to move off towards the east-northeast. Lee Summit heading your way here in the next couple of minutes, if you will. Oak Grove by about 11:30, Warrensburg by about 11:54, Knob Noster by about 12:06. So that's just a little bit of storm timing for those areas that are not being affected by our tornado warning. As we go further south along this line, I want to keep an eye on this activity down towards Cass County into Bates County. What I'm noticing about some of this activity is you notice how it's a harder defined edge right along the leading edge, you can get those little spin-ups with this harder defined edge as opposed to this down here, which is all murky and messy. That harder defined edge is something that we watch, certainly something that I watch. And those, again, are moving east-northeast. They're heading towards Butler by about 11:15 or so, Garden City by about 11:25, Appleton City 11:36, Clinton by about 11:48, Lowry City by 12, Windsor by about 12:05. Once you get west of that, all right, once you get west of that, the threat of severe weather for tonight is done. All right, so half the metro now, almost all of the Kansas side, pretty much all of the Kansas side, and dare I say all of the Kansas side. Your threat of severe weather now is over with. All right, Leavenworth, Wyandotte, Johnson, down towards Miami County, over towards Ottawa, at least your threat of any tornadic problems. Douglas County, Lawrence, Jefferson County, all of that is done. All right, and I know we still have our tornado watch. That continues up until about 4 o'clock or so tomorrow morning. But once this main line pushes through, that's it. All right, you'll get more rain, you'll have more cracks of thunder, the long rumbly sounds of thunder. That'll be an issue for the next couple of hours. But the threat of any tornadic thunderstorms, strong winds, something like that, certainly over with. All right, let's go back up to Jacob now, take a look at that Trimble storm. Jacob.
Yeah, okay, Joe. So again, this is really north of the metro. I just got a text from Carly Ritter saying that maybe there were some sirens sounding across parts of Platte and Clay counties. Those really now out of the risk zone from this tornado threat that has really quickly transitioned, in my opinion, to more of a damaging straight line wind threat here. I'm not seeing as much rotation in this tornado warning as it's now crossed 116 highway and 169 highway there north of Grayson. It's more tracking north-northeast there between Gower and Plattsburgh, and that's where we're seeing some damaging winds, possibly up to about 70 miles per hour. So that's just shy of hurricane force in some locations, and this is why we think this could at least cause a straight line damaging wind threat, downing some trees, power lines up here in this area. Again, we've seen weaker winds outpower in parts of Douglas and Johnson County now, so we're watching this in Clinton County as it's moving up towards the north and east. The good news is, though, the rotation has really broadened out, and as I turn on our rotation tracker up here for this tornado warning in Clinton County, which goes for about another 10, 12 minutes or so, it's becoming a little more broad. I'm seeing more bright blues from a couple scans ago as it was back in Platte County and closer to Trimble. Now it's a little harder for me to find the potential for some rotation. I also want to check in on our exclusive Fox 4 tornado predictor, still showing a medium chance here for rotation to try to spin up again, say from Clinton County up towards Cameron, and that's something we'll watch as this storm moves up towards the north. But again, as Joe's been mentioning, back on the Kansas side of things, really anything off towards the west of downtown Kansas City, Wyandotte, Leavenworth, Johnson County, essentially now in the clear, as this is really our only tornado warning up here in the Northland. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue down on the Missouri side, so I'll send it back over to Joe for an update on those storms.
Yeah, Carly relaying to me, sirens have been going off in the Platte Woods area. And again, if you live in Platte County, your threat of tornadic winds is done. All right, so if you're hearing the sirens, perhaps a malfunction, whatever, but that has all shifted out of Platte County. Again, we're just concerned about this leading edge. We're not concerned about what's going on back here from a tornadic standpoint. We're just concerned about this leading edge that essentially goes from Clinton County down into Clay County, Jackson County, right along 435 now, or actually 435 rather, approaching the 470 corridor out towards Independence, around the K right now. That's why we're thankful they got the game in pretty quick earlier this evening. Down towards 435, 470 on the south side, extending down 69, or actually 49, I-49, down through Cass County and down into Bates County. Once you get west of that, everything is fine. You know, basically, you know, this whole area that you see, gosh, Leavenworth, Wyandotte, you know, this whole area through here, you're done with the threat of severe weather. You'll have gusty winds, maybe 30, 40 mile an hour winds, perhaps from some of the rain. You'll also get thunder and lightning. We're still getting some lightning indicators. And typically on the backside, you get those longer rumbles of thunder. You know, the ones that seem like they last for like a minute. That's just a lot of lightning that's up there in the clouds. But again, the worst of the weather is done essentially now with the Kansas side. Our main focus continues to be Clay, Clinton, Jackson, Cass, down towards Bates County, basically up and down I-49, if you will, over onto the Missouri side. And as we put this into motion for you, again, that's the whole thing right there. Interestingly, we've gotten some reports of some power issues, as I mentioned, about 6,300 earlier. Into Johnson County, 6,300 customers without power, according to Evergy. Not sure if that was from wind or if that was maybe from all the lightning, because these were copious lightning makers, and they still are. There's a lot of lightning going on out there right now, and that was pretty much what we were expecting. We haven't seen all that many actually confirmed wind reports. We've gotten a lot of 40 to 60 mile an hour indications. We've gotten some 70, 75 mile indications. No doubt probably the Trimble area has had some pretty gusty winds with that tornadic cell that moved near, if not through, the Trimble area. We're not getting tons of reports of hail. Some of the storms are producing somewhere in the neighborhood of pea-sized hail. Remember, hail was not a major concern for us out of these storms. Earlier today, out towards western central Kansas, there are reports of baseball to softball sized chunks of ice coming down from those storms way out to the west during the mid to late afternoon. But thankfully, the hail issue with this whole thing has not been really an issue, not any damaging hail reports coming in. So the roofs, I think, are going to be okay. Now let's just get through the strong winds that might be connected to some of these storms. And again, the region is basically blanketed into severe thunderstorm warnings up and down the state line area. Those warnings now being dropped over on the Kansas side, which is certainly some welcome news. But for you folks who live out towards Ray County, Lafayette County, Johnson County over on the Missouri side, Henry County, Clinton, Warrensburg, Leeton, Odessa, Carrollton, over towards Richmond, that general area towards the east of this line of storms, that line is coming your way, and it may have the ability of producing 40 to 60 mile an hour winds. Let's get over to meteorologist Jacob Lanier, maybe some updates on what's going on up towards the Trimble area and points northeast.
Yeah, Joe, so we are about less than 10 minutes now from this tornado warning. It goes until 11:30, and this is now kind of only a Clinton County thing. Again, Platte County, you're essentially in the all clear now. Clay County not included in this rotating part of this storm. And it's now near Plattsburgh and just off towards the north. And I'm kind of deep diving here into our velocity mode, our wind mode, trying to dissect exactly where there still could be some rotation. There might be a little bit due north of Plattsburgh, maybe just a mile north of town. But generally, this is looking to me more like a straight-lined wind threat. And as I query some of these winds, just to show you, we're getting there near 70-mile-per-hour winds. So that's certainly going to cause some straight-line wind damage, even if this is not a tornado, which I think it might have been for a moment down closer to Smithville. But now we're seeing damaging winds crossing Northwest Y Highway and about to cross 33 Highway there, just north of Plattsburgh, eventually nearing or passing just west of Turney there in Clinton County. Lathrop, the strongest winds just here north and west, as this is tracking north and west here at about 45 miles per hour. So I do want to put a forecast track on this, and we'll await an update here from the National Weather Service pretty soon to see exactly if they plan to continue this downstream or if this is more turned into a damaging wind threat, kind of like what I'm seeing here. So as we head towards Turney at about 11:30, Cameron, if this holds together, damaging winds approaching you guys closer to 11:35 or 11:40. So this is moving north and east away from the Kansas City metro. And again, this is kind of our only tornado warning right now up here in the Northland. So we're awaiting an update here. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue along this leading edge of line, which is really now on the Missouri side. So Cameron, Kearney, Pleasant Hill, all the way down to Butler. That's where we have these severe thunderstorm warnings. By the way, the tornado watch has been dropped for Douglas, Franklin, and Anderson counties back in Kansas, and probably within the next 30 minutes to an hour, we'll be able to do the same for another row of Kansas counties here. So the good news is the severe risk trying to at least diminish here pretty soon. But this storm up in the Northland, we're still watching closely, but the good news is it's not rotating as much as when this warning was issued. Still a straight-lined wind threat. I think that's our primary issue here through Clinton County, and that might hold together as it pushes up towards Caldwell and DeKalb County over the next 20, 30 minutes or so. So we're about 5 minutes away from the end of this tornado warning. Joe, it looks like we're maybe getting some reports of some wind or power outages in parts of the metro.
Yeah, we've seen certainly from Evergy some reports down particularly towards Johnson County. Also got a report just a little while ago up towards Platte County of some power lines being knocked down. Independence, emergency operations there reporting about 1,100, close to 1,200 customers right now without power. Got a report of a 2-foot diameter tree limb down in the city of Basel. Fire department on the scene for that. So, you know, we're seeing some strong winds as a history with these storms. Not a ton of reports being plotted up right now, but this was from earlier around the Baldwin City area. They had a power line come down as well from these storms. Jacob, can you query check in with our colleagues down at Pleasant Hill. Let's see what they want to do with that tornado warning while I bring everybody up to date as far as what the storms are doing right now closer to home. And again, once you get west of this line, this is the line right in through here. Once you get west of there, the tornadic risk is over. There are still some indications of maybe some winds being blown out of these storms towards the west. We've seen that a little bit at times so far this season into Atchison and Donovan County, perhaps some 40, 50 mile an hour winds, despite the fact that the worst of the storms are well off to your east. But basically, you could see the line right now extends from Jackson County over on the Missouri side into Cass County, down into Bates County as well. And I'm going to go ahead and do some storm tracking for you on this particular line of storms. We'll take you south of that tornado warning, which hopefully will expire here in the next about 4 minutes or so. This is heading towards Excelsior Springs by 11:32, leading edge. Richmond, 11:47. Carrollton by about 12:15. Walter Bend by about 12:20. That's the northern side of this particular area of storms. Let's go a little further south. We'll take you into more of Jackson County, Cass County as well, and parts of Bates County. Again, everything moving off east-northeast, 50, 55 miles an hour. It's heading towards Green Valley here in the next about 5-10 minutes. Warrensburg before midnight. Lamont by about 12:11. Sedalia by about 12:30 or so, and Cambridge, depending on how well the line holds together, that'll last until about 12:42. Again, we continue to have our tornado warning still in effect for the southwest portion of Clinton County and the far northern portion of Clay County, but I think Clay County you're going to be okay, at least from this thing. We're not seeing really any concerning areas of rotation right now down towards...
they're going to expire it.
Okay, they're going to expire it. Jacob filling me in that Clinton County tornado warning is going to be allowed to end. We're keeping an eye still, though, on what's going on down into Cass County. This is our radar site. Gets a little trickier once you get these storms coming right on top of the radar site or close to it, because the beam doesn't get high enough, if you will, to see what's going on. But there's still maybe a little something around Harrisonville to kind of keep an eye on in terms of these little leading edge type mesovortice type things, but nothing that's overly concerning. Nothing like that area of rotation that we started our coverage with after 11 o'clock or so for tonight. Leading edge right now, the stronger winds being pushed out of these storms near and east of Adrian, Passaic, Butler, and Lone Oak. That would be I-49 right there down into Bates County. We've talked a lot over the last several weeks about Bates County and Henry County. We'll be talking more about both these counties here over the next about hour or so, with these storms continuing to plod off towards the east. We still have numerous severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, but thankfully, aside from that one storm that was up there towards the Trimble area, and that warning now being allowed to expire in the next about minute or so, we continue to have severe thunderstorm warnings with all this activity, but so far at least, we're not seeing any widespread damage or anything like that. I think I heard just a few minutes ago that Crystal Martinez was available to us. She was on her way towards the Smithville, Missouri area. Just to check on the folks there. Crystal, if you're with us, let's check in with you and tell us what you're experiencing.
Bye-bye. Sorry, what were you saying? Hey, sorry about that. We were going to in communication to see where we're headed to now. We are on our way to Trimble, and it looks like right now we are on I-169 North. Trying to get a good view here. We're keeping up with us throughout the night. We started off in Lawrence, went through KCK, now heading up north to where we're hearing those straight line wind damage. Just going to go assess the scene. So far, we've just been dealing with mostly heavy rain, gusty winds. We saw a few cars that had to park on the side because the rain did get pretty bad out here. But again, our main concern now is now that we know it's safe to head up there, we're just going to go check it out and just see what damage, if any, is reported. And so we are headed that way up to Trumbull right now.
All right, Crystal, thank you. We're going to stay on the air despite the fact that that tornado warning coming to an end. I think we're going to stay on the air for at least another 15 minutes just to be on the safe side, particularly for you folks in Jackson County. Over on the Missouri side, we're watching this little guy between Blue Springs and Lake Lotawana. That's very close to Highway 7. I'm going to stop this just so that you could kind of get your bearings straight. Doesn't mean anything's on the ground, but it is a little area of rotation that I want to watch for you as it moves off towards the east-northeast. And again, nothing's on the ground to our knowledge right now, but you know, it's there. There's a little something there that we're going to keep an eye on. And this is now, once we get towards, 11 in the evening, 12 early in the morning, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, this is prime time for these little eddies, if you will, these what we refer to as mesovortices, small little spin-ups that are possible. Doesn't mean that there's one actually happening, but they're possible. And radar is trying to pick out a little something right now between Blue Springs and Lake Lotawana. Doesn't mean anything's on the ground. There are no tornado warnings in effect for this right now, but it's something that we're watching. So just for an early heads up, I don't necessarily want you to head for cover yet in Oak Grove or Odessa. All right, into western portions of Lafayette County. I just want you to kind of watch what's going on back here, just in case my colleagues decide to upgrade this to something a little bit, well, there you go. Tornado warning just been issued right now for the eastern portion of Jackson County as well as Lafayette County. This tornado warning is going to go up until about midnight for tonight. Again, this is radar indicated that we've got this little possible tornado. Again, radar indicated tornado at least, that we're watching between Blue Springs and Lake Lotawana. So if you live in eastern portions of Jackson County, eastern Jackson County, that area now is under a tornado warning. And again, that's going to go until midnight for tonight. So I just want you folks, if you're hearing the sirens, you're maybe about to hear the sirens, to go ahead and just be on the safe side. Might as well take cover. That would include Grain Valley, Bates City, perhaps Napoleon and Wellington. We'll see how long this holds together. So far, I think that Trimble little eddy may have held together for about 2 or 3, maybe 4 radar scans. So that's about a 15-ish minute time span. So, hopefully it'll kind of fall apart like what happened just a little while ago with that Trimble storm. But again, there's that little eddy right there, and it's moving off towards the east-northeast, maybe a little northeast, at close to 50 miles an hour. I want to get over to Jacob now. He's going to do a little track on this for us and get down into street-level mapping here. Jacob.
Yeah, that's right, Joe. So again, this is the tornado warning here just issued by the National Weather Service going now until midnight. So this includes only parts of eastern Jackson County. So this is for Blue Springs, Grain Valley, and Oak Grove, and just east of Buckner. It includes parts of southern Ray County, Richmond in this tornado warning, along with Wellington and Lexington and Lafayette County. Independence, Raytown, Kansas City, Missouri, not in this tornado warning. So I just want to make that clear. Lee Summit also not in this tornado warning. The rotation, though, is just north of Lake Lotawana, as Joe is showing you. So I do want to zoom in here and pinpoint where the rotation could be. And in this view, looking at our reflectivity, I'm actually seeing just a little bit of a notch or something that indicates to me that we might be seeing rotation right there along 40 Highway and I-70, say moving out of Blue Springs towards Grain Valley. And I'll circle this for you so you can kind of see exactly what I'm seeing. So this is where I'm seeing the potential for a brief spin-up tornado. Doesn't mean it's on the ground, but it could do so any moment here. And that is there just along Adams Dairy Parkway and 40 Highway, moving towards, say, the center of Grain Valley, right to the south of Interstate 70. So this is north of Lake Lotawana, just on the east side of Blue Springs. and it's moving through Grain Valley up towards the north and east at about 50 miles per hour. So I will zoom out here and do a storm track for everyone else in the tornado warning downstream to see exactly where and when this is going to be arriving in your neighborhood. So there's the circulation in Grain Valley. It's moving downstream, and that puts it in, say, Grain Valley there right now, Napoleon around 11:49, Wellington at 11:53, and then if it holds together, Lexington right around midnight. So this is the area of rotation that we're watching closely. There's been some more eddies or little attempts at spin-ups, if you will, further south as well, and those are some areas. Yeah, Joe, do you have an update?
Yeah, I do. We're going to get a new tornado warning here now for northeastern Bates County in just a second.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of where I was headed.
That concerns that little area that we've been watching. Yep, down towards the Uric area. So the north, there it is, plotted up on the screen for you, brand new tornado warning. Again, the couplet with that, it's there. It maybe isn't quite as focused as what we just saw just a few minutes ago, but it's there. And like I said, we're coming into that typical time of the overnight where we're getting these little spin-ups. So let's go ahead and plot that one for you. This is involving Uric now, perhaps Petersburg. We'll see about that. Heading towards Creighton by 11:42, Blairstown by 11:51, and we'll see Chilhowie for midnight. That's the concern. This is east of Adrian, Passaic, and Butler. This is the extreme northeast portion of Bates County, the extreme southeast portion of Cass County, and the northwestern portion of Henry County. Over on the Missouri side, we'll throw in southwestern Johnson County on the Missouri side as well. Hopefully, it'll be canceled before that eventuality happens. But again, there's still definitely a little area of rotation down there, and hence the reason why we've got a brand new tornado warning. That's in effect, and I'm going to send it back to Jacob here in a second, but that tornado warning goes up until midnight as well for tonight. Southeastern Cass County, northwestern Henry County, parts of Bates County, and south central Johnson County on the Missouri side. Again, radar indicated, nothing confirmed on the ground, radar indicated, and this goes until midnight. Let's get you back to that Jackson County tornado warning. Jacob.
Okay, thanks, Joe. So, yeah, so we're kind of splitting duties here. Joe's watching this southern storm that's just east of Adrian, tracking towards Creighton and Uric, and I'm focusing on this northern storm, which is now out towards Grain Valley. Here's the latest on the warning. Again, goes until midnight. Oak Grove included in this, Wellington, and it's eventually tracking up towards, say, Richmond and Lexington over the next 30 minutes or so. So let's zoom back in here, and I want to look at our wind mode as we zoom in towards the Grain Valley and Oak Grove area. And again, on our wind mode here, it's really hard to see. Maybe we might be seeing some rotation just north of I-70 there in Grain Valley. Again, hard to see at this level, maybe about 40-mile-per-hour rotation there on Buckner-Parsney Road there just north of I-70 in Grain Valley. And that is moving up towards the north and east. For me, it's actually a little easier to see some of this rotation when we look at the reflectivity mode or just the regular rain mode where we can see some of these notches. And this looks like it's actually a scan ahead. So if there's still a tornado with this, it's actually going to be closer to, say, Truman Road, just towards the north of Oak Grove. So there's Outer Belt Road north of I-70, north of Oak Grove. There's Truman Road right along the county line between Jackson County and Lafayette County. And there's rotation here heading up towards Napoleon. So it's about 5-10 minutes away from crossing 24 Highway between Buckner and Wellington. So Levacy, Napoleon, Highway D, Highway FF, Truman Road near just on the north side of Oak Grove. Go ahead and seek your tornado safe place just to be secure and safe with your family until this passes. It'll only last about 15 more minutes or so in this area. Further down the line, it's heading towards Lexington, and as we put a storm track on this, the ETA for Lexington is now just before the midnight time frame. So this tornado warning is still in effect for about 22 minutes, and we have a second tornado warning further south in Bates County, and Joe Lauria is keeping an eye on that storm.
Yeah, that one's looking a little beefier,
okay.
No doubt about that, and I'll show you reflectivity here in just a second, but this is the little area of concern that we've got. Now approaching the county line, if you will, kind of like the three-county line of Cass, western portions of Henry County, northeastern portions, extreme northeastern portions of Bates County. This little area right in through there, that's the main concern. I want you folks in the Uric area definitely take cover from this particular cell because as I'm going to show you here on our reflectivity, it definitely you know, it's got a little notch in there, no doubt about it. And that's probably one of the best ones we've seen so far this evening. You could see it kind of right in through there. Notice how most of the lightning is actually off towards the west. But again, this is heading pretty much towards the Urich area. We'll put this into motion just so you folks in Urich can get a sense. Here's Urich. Yeah, that's going to be a close call for Urich. So I want you folks in Urich to go ahead and take cover from this storm. You folks in Urich, take cover from this storm as it continues to move off towards the northeast. It looks like it'll pass probably just towards the south of Creighton. I'm keeping an eye on the Creighton area as well with this. Yeah, it looks like it'll pass just barely south of Creighton as it continues to move towards the northeast, give or take, at roughly 50 miles an hour. We're going to go ahead and kind of zoom in. And that little area right in through there, that's the main concern. So here's Highway M. Here's 347th Street. All right, this is southeastern portions of Cass County. Now we're getting into the western portion right in through here, northwestern portion of Henry County, and the northeastern portion of Bates County. So in that little three-county area, if you will, right along the county line, that's the main area of concern. This would be just towards the north of Route Double B. All right, so south of 347th Street, just towards the north and west of Highway M on the Missouri side. Again, northeastern Bates County might have a little something trying to either touch down or, if nothing else, produce some very strong, perhaps upwards of 70, 75 mile an hour straight line winds. Again, generally right in through here. Again, this is Bates County. This is all towards the east of I-49. So this is all towards the east of your major cities in Bates County. So Adrian, Passaic, Butler, you're fine. Again, the main concern is right in through here, just towards the south and west of Creighton and just towards the south and west of Urich. For sure, Urich, I want you to go ahead and take cover from this storm to be on the safe side. Hopefully it's nothing terrible. Typically these things are not terrible, but if you get a strong push out of winds, 70, 75 miles an hour, tornado or not, that could do some damage, shingle damage, could do some damage to some of the mobile home communities or individualized mobile homes down through this general area. Again, just for bearings, 347th Street around the Creighton area, southward, this little area right in through there near Highway Double B, all right, just towards the north of Missouri 18. That's the little area right there. It's right literally on that three-county line of Cass, Bates, and Henry County. Right in through there, that's the main area of concern with that storm moving off towards the east-northeast. Got another tornado warning. Again, this is up towards Jackson County and points east of there. Let's get back over to Jacob. Jacob.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Yeah, so again, kind of two active tornado warnings right now. Joe's been showing you the one down near Creighton in southern Cass County, and this warning goes until midnight as well there for 7 Highway. The north warning is what I'm keeping an eye on. Just got a report from our producer that about 5,000 customers in Jackson County without power. That is likely in eastern Jackson County, where there might have been a brief tornado just near Grain Valley and Blue Springs. The warning extends all the way to 13 Highway up towards Richmond and all the way to Lexington along 24 Highway in the Missouri River. So I'm watching rotation here. This tornado warning goes until midnight and includes over 85,000 people out here from Oak Grove into Lafayette and southern Ray County. And I'm watching this little notch with actually an uptick in lightning here in the last moment or two. And if there's still a tornado on the ground, this is where it would be just approaching the Napoleon neighborhood that I've circled there. So right now, this would be, say, on Outer Belt Road and North County Road H, just south of 24 Highway between Buckner and Napoleon. Highway D, up towards Napoleon and Wellington. This is about to cross the Missouri River, too, by the way. We've got Ray County to the north. Right now, this rotation moving from Jackson County to Lafayette County and the corner of Ray County. So we're watching this rotation. It moves up towards the north, and it's heading towards, say, the Henrietta area and Richmond area. And I do want to put a storm track on this for us. It's moving at about 50 miles per hour. And current ETA here for Richmond is still right around or before midnight. Napoleon here in the next 5 minutes or less. So Napoleon here, if you live near the Missouri River between Ray and Lafayette County, go ahead and seek your tornado shelter. as this possible tornado is moving up towards the north. It's about to exit Jackson County back towards Oak Grove and Grain Valley. I think we're now in the all clear. This is now up towards 24 Highway and the Missouri River. On the wind mode, I can still see some strong winds, and when we query these, I'm getting, say, wind estimates close to 70 miles per hour. So even if this is not a tornado, it looks like that there's still going to be some damaging winds with this. And we have a new tornado warning as well. I'll go back over to Joe for that.
Yeah, this one's going to be a little further up towards the north, and we just got a report south of Creighton of a funnel cloud. So we're watching this new tornado warning now for Johnson County. This is on the Missouri side, Johnson County. Over on the Missouri side, again, this is all radar indicated, nothing confirmed with this, but we've got a couple of notches that we're watching. One towards the north of Kingsville, one around Kingsville. Both those little notches moving off towards the east-northeast. Here's 131, so this is west of 131, in and near the Kingsville area. Points up towards the north. This would be east of Strasburg. This is Missouri 58 for your bearings. Here's US 50. So if you live roughly between US 50 and down towards 58 in that general block, west of Centerview, near and west of Centerview to Kingsville, that little rectangle, if you will, sort of rectangle, I want you to go ahead and take cover from this storm. This is Johnson County on the Missouri side, where we have a tornado warning now in effect up until about 12:15 rather. I should mention. Also getting reports of maybe some impressive rotation showing up on radar over towards Napoleon, Missouri. Want to backtrack and get you through this particular part of the tornado warning. And again, this is the little couplet that might be just towards the north of Kingsville. Not a lot in that path. Fayetteville, 1205 would be one possible thing with that. And then here's that other one that's near the Kingsville area, also moving off towards the east-northeast. That doesn't appear to be affecting anybody, at least not in the next few minutes, unless you live along that 131 highway corridor south of US 50. So again, this is a new tornado warning. That's going to go up until about 12:15 as well for Johnson County over on the Missouri side. Johnson County on the Missouri side, you are now also under a tornado warning. We also have these little areas that Jacob has been watching near Napoleon, these little red blotches, if you will, perhaps some areas of rotation, these little spin-ups that we're watching around and just towards the south of Napoleon, near and west of Highway D, and just towards, generally towards the north of Highway FF. So right in through there, that's the area that Jacob has been watching. Let's get over to him for an update on that. Jacob.
Yeah, Joe, the National Weather Service saying that there's a pretty good indication that there may be a tornado here near Napoleon. This is right on the Missouri River, and we are in Lafayette County here, Highway D, there's 24 Highway, and then Ray County up north of the river, there's Fleming and Highway T. So the rotation where the tornado is likely has just crossed the Missouri River into southern Ray County. So this is the rotation here. It's just passed through Napoleon and is now entering into Ray County. And there's almost a little bit of a hook there. And I'm kind of going to highlight this for you. This is something that we look for when we're tracking a tornado here in this line of thunderstorms, because it's showing us that there's a little bit of inflow. The tornado is trying to wrap in, or the storm is trying to wrap in some air, and then it's swirling out ahead of it. And this tornado, if it's on the ground, is right over the Missouri River between Fleming and Wellington. So Richmond, Henrietta, Lexington, go ahead and seek shelter now. An interior room away from outside doors and windows. If you have a basement, that's a good place to go, because this possible tornado still could be on the ground as it moves towards Henrietta and 13 Highway. So Richmond, go ahead and seek your safe place. Between Richmond and Lexington, that's where the threat is going to be the highest here over the next couple of minutes. I'm going to check in on our wind mode here. And there's the update. It looks like that there's possibly two areas of rotation, one near Orick and one near Wellington. And so this is something that we're going to have to watch too. These storms, as they move along the line, can really kind of evolve and move around here. It's not like a classic supercell where there's one tornado that we're tracking. It's all these spin-ups, and this one near Napoleon is tracking along the river up towards Main Street, Highway H into Henrietta. There's another weak rotation near Orick on 210 Highway. And we still have active tornado warnings further south into Johnson and Henry County, Missouri, and Joe's keeping a close eye on those storms as well.
Yeah, so the storms that is of concern further south, as Jacob was mentioning. This is now northwestern Henry County on the Missouri side, southwestern portions of Johnson County. So Johnson County is really actually on the Missouri side under two different tornado warnings. The one that had a funnel cloud just towards the south of Creighton, it's still showing signs of rotation, perhaps not quite as beefy as it was just a little while ago. That was a concern. And that's kind of the history of these things. These are not necessarily those big honker tornadoes that we could track for an hour or 2 hours. These things are much more transient, way more brief. If they even come down, they come down. Perhaps they do a little damage and then they're gone in the next 5 minutes. So again, we're just kind of watching, and that's why we're just kind of watching for these little areas of rotation. One right there as well, just towards the east of 131 into the western portion of Johnson County. I'll go ahead and put another track on this particular part of things on that northern edge, if you will, right up through there. Fayetteville, Mount Olive, Allville, between 1205, 1215. I'll move down and take you a little further east of 131, and that's going to be for this part of it, and that's going to be heading towards Fayetteville, perhaps by 1205. Jacob.
Yeah, so Joe, it looks like we got a new tornado warning up here in Ray County. So that second circulation that I was highlighting near Oric, the National Weather Service also saw that exact same thing, and so has extended a new tornado warning for most of Ray County until 12:15. This new warning includes Henrietta, Knoxville, Oric, and Richmond, and this is just over 8,000 people. So we're watching two areas of rotation now in southern Ray County, just off to the east of the Kansas City metro. And so there's a lot of active spin-up spots, as we were possibly expecting here in the Kansas City metro through the overnight hours. So I'm going to zoom in here into Ray County, quickly show you these rotational spots and track them out for us. The first one is just to the north of Oric, and it has just crossed over Highway 210 between Oric and Richmond. The second one is approaching Henrietta along the Missouri River. So those are our two rotational spots here in Ray County, and the storm is moving towards the north and east at about 50 miles per hour. So I'll put a storm track on this, and that puts an ETA for Richmond at 11:55. So again, Rayville, Richmond, Henrietta, you should be in your tornado safe place now. I've given you about a 10-15 minutes heads up. Rayville just before midnight, Dockery 12:02, Millville 12:07. So two areas of rotation, a tornado warning for Ray County until 12:15. There's still more active tornado warnings further south, and it looks like we're getting in some possible funnel reports from those as well. So this is what the storm looks like right now. A quick wider view for you. We have two tornado warnings further south, two a little bit closer to the Missouri River. These are the ones for Ray County, northern Lafayette County. And then Joe's been tracking the ones further south, approaching Warrensburg and also near Creighton, Missouri. So we have four tornado warnings just east of the Kansas City metro. All four of them have possible quick spin-up embedded tornadoes, as we've been forecasting for the potential for tonight. And these are all moving off towards the east. So Joe's got an update on our southern two storms.
Yeah, and we'll broaden out the view just a little bit. Actually, we just had our loudest rumble of thunder here at the station, and these storms now are about 30 miles east of Kansas City. It just kind of shows you can still get some pretty loud rumbles of thunder on the backside of this squall line that's moving now through the eastern side of the Kansas City metropolitan area. These are the different warnings, 4 in all. Jacob's been focusing on these two guys. Again, around the Oric area, we want you to be sure you're in your safe spot right now. We're getting a little ding of something perhaps a little more significant around Oric, Missouri in the last few minutes. For you folks down in Johnson County, you're technically under, Johnson County, Missouri, technically under two different warnings. Northwestern quarter, if you will, of Johnson County, including Warrensburg and points northwest. Tornado warning continues till about 12:15. Southwestern Johnson County as well. Northwestern Henry County also under a tornado warning, and that goes until roughly 12:15 as well. And we'll take you with our velocity data down into these storms that are, again, these are all radar indications, but they're decent radar indications. You kind of see the area of concern right there. There's one. All right, that would be north of Holden near 131, and then down here as well. So a couple of little circulations that we're watching in Johnson County. We'll zoom in. I'll zoom in and see how close we could get to get some relevant information on here for you. This would be Highway 50, there's 131, all right, so right to the south and west of US 50, moving off, if you know anybody who lives along County Road M, near the 50 highway corridor towards County Road M, all right, east of 131. This would be northwestern Johnson County on the Missouri side. Send them a text, make sure they're aware of what's going on. Midnight, a lot of folks are sleeping, and if the lightning doesn't wake them up, they could sleep through this one, and I hate for them to be in a bad spot if this little guy decides it wants to go ahead and do something that's not so nice. No reports of, at least to my knowledge at this point, of any actual touchdowns with this. We just had a big radar update right there. No reports of any actual touchdowns with this, but it's concerning, especially this one in northwestern portions of Johnson County. That looks actually a little bit better on the latest data that just got updated. And we're getting indications of winds 45, 50 miles an hour circulating away from the radar. So, you know, it's a problem, and that's something that we need to watch right in through here. And again, that is just towards the west of Highway M, just towards the west of Highway M and just towards the south of US 50. That's one area of a circulation that we're certainly watching. Haven't seen, like I mentioned, anything confirmed on the ground. We've seen some areas of rotation, but at least so far, aside from maybe some power outages, some tree limbs knocked down, nothing of overly concerning nature with any of these tornado warnings that we've had so far. Now, again, middle of the night, something could have been hit. We just don't know about it yet. But again, that's a little area of concern, no doubt, down across the south, or the western portion, I should say, of Johnson County over on the Missouri side. So we're going to continue to monitor that as Jacob continues to monitor what's going on further north with these storms a little further close to the Missouri River. Jacob.
Yeah, that's right, Joe. So we're watching this Ray County storm closely. The National Weather Service telling me that there might have been a quick tornado touchdown in Oric in the last 10 minutes, and that's heading right into downtown Richmond, Missouri. So Richmond, you should be in your safe place right now, where there's a potential for a quick tornado here as this line is moving through. And as I zoom in here on our velocity mode, I'm looking for any winds, and sometimes with these quick spin ups, it can be hard to see. So when I go over to our reflectivity mode, or just the regular rain mode, I can see the little bit of a hook here, and there's two of them where we could have two possible tornadoes in Ray County. One moving into downtown Richmond, and then another one moving into Henrietta. So those are the two areas of rotation. One coming in 210 Highway into Richmond, about to cross 13 Highway, and then the second area of rotation coming in Highway H in towards Henrietta there, right at Highway H and Highway 13. So areas along Highway 13 here, but in central and southern Ray County, should still be in your tornado safe place for the next 15 minutes or so. This tornado warning for Ray County goes until 12:15. So we're watching this storm closely. The National Weather Service still giving us updates that this storm further south that Joe's been tracking down into Johnson County, Missouri, still has a pretty strong rotation, Joe, and that's a pretty good indicator, probably the strongest rotation we've seen.
Yeah, that definitely looking a little beefy, and I've actually kind of popped our colors just a little bit more for you, give you an idea what's going on. This is County Road M. This is the northwestern corner of Johnson County. Here's your county line separating Johnson and Lafayette County. So this little area right in through here, all right, that's a definite area of concern. That's going to be just towards the southeast of Lafayette County or I should say of Lake Lafayette by about 7 miles. It's also about 15 miles southwest of Allville, all right, and for the Concordia area, it's about 19 miles west-southwest of Concordia. So that little area right in through there is definitely an item of concern as it continues to move off towards the east-northeast at a pretty good clip. So that's the main concern that we've got right now, particularly for the northwestern or northern portion, if you will, of Johnson County. I'll broaden out the view just a little bit more for you. You could see very clearly that area of rotation. We'll put a storm track on this as well, just to kind of extend it out since it looks a little beefier than some of these other cells that we've been watching. Just a heads up for Concordia, 12:20, it's now 11:58. Just a heads up for Concordia, you might Want to start thinking about, maybe not right now, give it about another 5-10 minutes of taking cover from that particular cell. If it holds together, hopefully it won't, and it may not, because like I've mentioned off and on this evening, these things seem to hold together for about maybe 15-ish minutes and then tend to fizzle out. But that's definitely something that we're watching, and that might be actually the strongest little area that we're seeing, at least according to Doppler radar, with all of these cells as they continue to move off towards the east-northeast. Again, if you live west of these communities, and then for those of you just joining us, I'll give you a kind of a broader view. If you live west, basically on the Kansas side, for sure, if you live within most of the metro, you're cleared from the risk of stronger storms, nastier storms, severe storms. This is the show that's going to continue plodding off towards the east. This is going to be heading towards 65 Highway. Want to give an early heads up, and again, this is an early heads up for you folks out towards Carrollton, Marshall, Sedalia, potentially Clinton, Leeton. We just took a little power hit. That, you know, you folks have a big issue with these overnight little spin-ups. How many times have we talked about Pettis County? How many times have we talked about Johnson County? How many times have we talked about Saline and Carroll County? So just give you a little heads up about all this. Odds are a lot of folks there are going to be woken up by the thunder as it approaches. You still have a solid hour, I would say, of advance notice, but watch for these storms as they continue to move off towards the east-northeast. I'm seeing actually a little bit of a reduction now in some of these tornado warnings. I'm trying to do this off the top of my head. We've got that one into Ray County, north central portions of Johnson County on the Missouri side. Those are the 2 tornado warnings. Jacob, can you help me out with that?
Yeah.
That's what we've got, right?
Yes, and both go until 12:15.
Okay,
so
good.
That's what we're watching here. And I just kind of wanted to show the overview that even further south along I-49, we have several active tornado warnings down just to the north side of Joplin, down towards Nevada. So this is kind of turning into this embedded line of rotation, damaging winds, and a couple tornadoes that we were telling you that had the potential for here through the overnight hours. So again, as Joe was saying, inside the 435 loop in the Kansas City metro, yes, there's loud thunder. Yes, it's still raining and storming outside. The tornado and wind threat has ended for those of us inside the 435 loop and also anywhere on the Kansas side. Our severe weather threat has ended. We still have these 2 tornado warnings, one up here in Ray County that is continuing here for Richmond and points up towards the north and east until 12:15, and the one Joe's been showing you down towards Pittsville, Fayetteville, just north of Warrensburg and 50 Highway. That also goes until 12:15. So I want to bounce back up here to the Ray County storm, give us an update. It looks like the rotation has just moved through downtown Richmond and is now crossing 13 Highway. So we'll see here within the next couple of minutes. This may need to be extended downstream if the rotation continues to hold together. As we look at our wind mode here on Fox 4 radar, I'm not seeing really strong signs of rotation like we saw when the likely tornado moved through Orick, Missouri about, say, 20 minutes ago. So that's good news. Still some damaging straight line winds possible with this, and there may still be an embedded tornado, but it's hard to see with our wind speeds right now. There's the straight line winds, 60 to 70 miles per hour. So we still have the severe weather threat with straight line winds, even if there's not a tornado on the ground right now. On our reflectivity or just the rain mode here, I'm still watching the area that's just now north of Richmond for possible rotation. If there's going to be another spin up, that's where it's going to be here, just between Richmond and Dockery, now passing to the east on 13 Highway. So Morton, it's heading towards Highway A and further up towards the north. I'm going to put a storm track on this for us, moving about 50 miles per hour or so up towards Morton and Millville. And if it holds together, maybe moving up towards Highway K instead here soon. So Morton 1206, Millville 1209, Rockingham at 1212. So these are the zones in Ray County. Continue to stay in your tornado safe place. Downtown Richmond, I think, is now past the rotation, still strong storms, and places further south that were earlier in the morning, places like Orick, Henrietta, even Lexington and Napoleon there in northern Lafayette County. We are now in the all clear from the severe weather threat there. So this is our northern tornado warning. We still have the active tornado warning further south down into parts of Johnson County, Missouri, and Joe's keeping an eye on that storm.
Yeah, and they've issued a new tornado warning. This is going to be for the southeastern portion of Lafayette County, northeastern Johnson County on the Missouri side. This will go until about 12:30. Couple of notes. I'm appreciative of my colleagues down at the National Weather Service for issuing these warnings in roughly 30-ish minute chunks, because they recognize as well that these little spin-ups, these little mesovortices, don't necessarily last as long as what we see from a typical supercell thunderstorm, you know, the ones that come through between 4 and 8 o'clock in the evening, those real powerful things. Those could stay on the ground for an hour or whatever. These are vastly different, but it's certainly, you know, that little part of this whole thing is a concern. It's about to move out of that one tornado warning, and hence the reason why we've issued this new tornado warning. This would include Allville, Alma, Concordia, although I really think it's going to pass south of Allville and south of Alma based on that trajectory. You folks in Concordia, like I mentioned, you know, let's keep an eye on this. Highway 23 points west, but particularly Highway 13 points west. This is the county line right in through there. So we've seen these little areas of rotation for whatever reason for tonight just kind of straddle these county line areas. So we're throwing out a lot of counties to you. That's basically because they're just sort of right on the edge of all these different counties. There's not a lot in the path of this, but again, around Missouri Highway 13 west of there, if you know anybody who lives down there, go ahead and take cover from that storm. Safe spot that you probably know well, some sort of interior room, basement, storm cellar if you have one, something with a lot of walls, lowest level of your home or apartment or whatever you may have. If you have a mobile home, just be aware that regardless of whether or not this is a tornado or just an area of enhanced stronger winds, knocking out power, something like that, 70-mile-an-hour winds can certainly do some damage and can tip over a mobile home. So I want you folks to be careful with this as it continues to move into the far northern reaches of Johnson County on the Missouri side, and then eventually crossing over towards southern reaches of Lafayette County, south central Lafayette County. If you know anybody coming along I-70, coming in from central Missouri, particularly you know, if they're around the Sweet Springs area and they're driving westbound towards Kansas City, perhaps late this evening, may want to just get a hold of them. Don't text them. I don't want them distracted. But if you can, maybe just give them a call. Just tell them to be careful, all right, with that little cell that's coming up towards the I-70 corridor on the assumption that that area of rotation lasts that long. And it may not, all right? Very fair to say. It may not, but I'll just kind of give you a little perspective on this. It's, well, let's see. It would be roughly, I'd say about 10, maybe 15 miles or so towards the south and west, about 12 miles west-southwest of I-70. All right, so again, like I mentioned, if you know anybody along that I-70 corridor, Concordia westward, south of Allville, that general vicinity, just give them a heads up that we've got an area of circulation down there. Not to our knowledge right this second producing a tornado, but it's something that we need to watch as it moves off towards the east-northeast. And again, we'll put a little track on this for you just to see if we run into a few towns. And sure enough, Concordia, that's an area of concern, and looks like the radar just updated. So let me give you a better track. And it already looks like that little circulation may have weakened just a little bit. And that's, you know, the thing with these little circulations. They pulse up and then they kind of shrivel, but it's still there. So you folks in Emma, 1222, Elmwood, 1228, Concordia, 1217, assuming it holds together. So you've got about 10 minutes to go. Let's get back over to Jacob.
Okay, Joe, so just got an update from the National Weather Service. Further south on this line, it looks like we're about to get a new tornado warning further south towards Chilhowie. The Ray County rotation has really weakened. So Ray County, the warning continues for about 5 more minutes, but overall our focus is now shifting through Lafayette, Johnson County, Missouri, and in towards Henry County, Missouri. There's Chilhowie, there's Leeton, and we're seeing rotation tighten up a little bit south of Warrensburg. And so that's an area now that we're going to have to keep an eye on as well. So kind of 2 rotation signatures. Joe's been tracking one up there in towards the Lafayette and Johnson County line. Now there's one on the Henry and Johnson County line. And I want to zoom into Chilhowie here along the 2 highway corridor rather, and query these wind speeds because these are pretty strong winds down here between Chilhowie and Leeton, about 90-mile-per-hour rotation. That's where we could see a brief tornado touchdown again on the leading edge of this line of storms. So there's still kind of 2 zones that we're looking at. That one further south towards Chilhowie, the other one up towards the Lafayette County line, approaching Concordia. And both of these are where we're looking at the highest threat for possible rotation right now. So as we turn on our rotation tracker, I think it's going to kind of agree with us that these are the 2 zones. And it looks like even this further south zone is where we're seeing maybe some stronger rotation. That was the warning that we had down near Urick and expired. And now it looks like it's tightening up again further down towards Chilhowie and Leeton. So that's a zone we're going to have to watch. Southern Johnson County, not seeing a tornado warning right now, but based on my analysis here, I would go ahead and seek shelter in Leeton and Southern Johnson County, Missouri here for the next couple of minutes. Joe, you're kind of seeing that
I'm
as
nodding
well.
with Jacob.
Yeah.
They're going to issue a tornado warning on that here very quickly, probably within the minute. So a new tornado warning coming out for the southeastern portion. All right, this will be Johnson County, southeastern portion of Johnson County. There it is coming out right now. I'll give you a little time. Actually, it's plotted up. There it is. This will be roughly up until 12:45. 12:45 for the southeastern corner of Johnson County. 12:45 for southeastern Johnson County. Concerning that rotation, again, nothing confirmed on the ground at this point. This is east of Chilhowie, just towards the west of Leeton. There's Missouri 13. A little track on this, taking it towards Burtville by about 12:19. Owlsley, perhaps passing more towards the north, and technically Owlsley is not in that tornado warning. Burtville, though, is. Again, Missouri Highway 13 right there. There's Highway 2, and it's concerning this circulation, which is, give or take, we'll give you an idea what we're looking at in terms of a distance from Chilhowie. But this is roughly, about 4 miles or so towards the east of Chilhowie and just towards the west-northwest of Leeton. So that's the circulation that we're concerned about. And for you folks in the Burtville area, if you live near and west of Missouri 23 over towards Highway 13, Missouri 13, I want you folks in that general area to go ahead and take cover from the storm. These storms are, again, not really producing any noticeable or significant hail. We're not really getting a ton of reports of any strong winds from these storms. I don't want to say it's a tornado or nothing. I don't want to, go down that road. But at least, so far, things seem to be, okay, aside from these just little areas of rotation along the leading edge of these storms. And that's why we've been providing continuous weather for you here, continuous coverage for a while, just because you just never know if one of these little areas of rotation actually can get down and do some brief damage for areas that are being affected. Again, if you live in the metro, you're just getting thunderstorms right now. You could hear the thunder. These are the long rumbles of thunder as well. But for those of you who live right along the leading edge and east of here, so again, just a heads up for Carrollton, Marshall, Sedalia, be prepared. You may want to start thinking about taking cover here within the next half hour to hour's time, should a tornado warning be issued. We've got 4 of them out there right now, including this one down towards and near Concordia, which I want to go ahead and briefly touch on as well. Looks like we got a little something just towards the west of Concordia right now. You can kind of see the little notchy right in through there. That's the little area that we're watching. And let's see what the velocity shows. Yeah, there's still, there's definitely something still going on right along 13 Highway, or pretty darn close to it, just towards the south and west of Allville and off towards the west-southwest of Concordia. We'll give you an idea on how far away it is from Concordia, about 9 miles right now towards the west-southwest of Concordia. This is where we have one of those perhaps attempts at a little spin-up that needs to be watched as it now crosses over Highway 13 and continues to move off towards the east-northeast. That would be probably heading towards Concordia here within the next about 15 minutes or so. They're moving at roughly, give or take, 50 miles an hour. So for that area, especially around and towards the north of Concordia, make sure you're in your safe spot just to be on the safe side. 1219 for Concordia might pass just a little north of Concordia up along 23 Highway, but just to be on the safe side for Concordia. If you live around the Concordia area, here we go with that I-70 corridor. That's what we were talking about 10 minutes ago. I-70 from Concordia westward towards Allville, that general vicinity. You know, if you know anybody who's on that road right now, give them a call. They may want to pull over just for about 15 minutes until we could get that little area of rotation north of I-70, and then they could continue along their merry little way as they're moving off towards the west. So again, if you know anybody along I-70 into Lafayette County, particularly near and west of Concordia, give them a quick phone call just to make sure, you know, that maybe they pull over. Won't take for all that long because that thing will be jumping over I-70 here probably in the next 5 or 10 minutes. So they could get a little break from driving, let that thing pass over, and then they should be fine as they continue off towards the west. But certainly that southeast corner of Lafayette County is an area of concern right now, as well as what's going on further north of that as well. And here's Jacob with more information about that. Jacob.
Yeah, Joe, so we're kind of getting some updates now. The entire Kansas City metro here has been dropped from the tornado watch. So that's good news. Clay County, Jackson County, Cass County, Bates County, you have been removed from the tornado watch. So the severe weather threat is over for our first row and westernmost row of Missouri counties. Everyone in Kansas, tornado watch is done. Our severe weather threat is over. It's really our Missouri zones here now pushing into central Missouri that we're watching. And there's 2 active tornado warnings. Joe was just showing them to you zoomed in. One in southeastern Lafayette County, one in southeastern Johnson County, Missouri. There's another tornado warning north of Osceola there in St. Clair County. We'll have to watch that as it head towards Benton County as well. So those are kind of the zones we're now watching for quick spin up potential along this leading edge of line. And I want to show you a wider view of our Fox 4 tornado predictor. It's this new exclusive product we've been showing you this spring about the highest spin up risk over the next hour. And there's been zones with confirmed tornadoes as far south as Joplin. And so Nevada to Springfield is a zone with a pretty high tornado potential over the next hour. Also there near Concordia along I-70 that Joe's been tracking for you, that has a higher spin up potential here. We'll also have to watch extreme northern Missouri, north of Chillicothe, say up towards Trenton, maybe a brief spin up there. But for right now, our main tornado warnings are just south and near Concordia off towards the east of the Kansas City metro. So I'm going to zoom into these for us. There's 2 zones. One has just crossed Interstate 70 and one is now moving up towards just towards the south and east of Warrensburg. So I'm going to start here with this northern storm because it has just crossed over the interstate and possibly did some damage if it's on the ground there between Higginsville and Concordia. And this is just about to cross 23 Highway there between Alma and Concordia. So again, here in southeastern Lafayette County, go ahead and seek your tornado safe place right now. We have some pretty decent rotation with this storm as it's crossing I-70, and certainly would not be surprised if there's been a spin up or if it's still out there. Here's some of that rotation right along Interstate 70. And as I query these winds for us, just to give us an idea of the strength of this rotation, about 60 miles per hour. It's crossing State Highway KK and Davis Road, and it's just now on the north side of I-70, approaching the northern zone of Concordia as well. So this is moving off towards the north at about 40 miles per hour. Here's the latest forecast track on this, putting it in Alma at 1230, Blackburn 1234, Elmwood at 1235. So we'll see here pretty soon if the National Weather Service wants to continue and extend this further off towards the east there, say down the road and down I-70 over towards Saline County. Further south, we still have this rotation north of Leeton, and this is where we're going to have to watch. It could approach Knob Noster and Whiteman Air Force Base here within the next, say, 20-30 minutes. Whiteman ETA is right around 1230, so go ahead and seek your safe place there on the base or near Whiteman, Knob Noster at 1235. And those are the 2 zones of rotation now in Lafayette and Johnson County that we're watching as these storms move off towards the north and east. So Joe, if you have any more updates on these storms?
Yeah, actually, I want to take you even further south. We've got a lot of viewers down towards northern St. Clair County, in particular around Lowry City. Have a tornado warning for that Lowry City area. This is the northern reaches of St. Clair County. The reason why I wanted to bring this up, nothing reported on the ground. If there's something on the ground, it's going to be towards the west-southwest of Lowry City. And the reason why I wanted to bring that up right now, about 8 miles or so west-southwest of Lowry City, is to bring Benton County into things. So just a heads up for you folks down towards Warsaw, perhaps Lincoln along that 65 highway corridor. Benton County, this looks like it'll probably be south of Coal Camp, but we'll watch it for the next hour or so. But from Lincoln to Warsaw, just keep in mind what's going on to your west-southwest down towards the northern reaches of St. Clair County. Lowry City right now under a tornado warning. That's going to go up until about 12:45 from my colleagues at the National Weather Service in Springfield. A little bit closer to home, this is a broad area of rotation right now near Leeton, heading off towards the north and east. We'll zoom in just to kind of give you a little bit more perspective on this, get some street names and highways on here for you. Here's County Road V, Highway V. There's Highway 13. So this is basically east of Highway 13 down in the southern portion of Johnson County on the Missouri side. West of there, the threat of tornadic weather is over with. So if you live west of Highway 13, your threat of tornadic thunderstorms is done. If you live, actually that would be Highway Y, I should say, not Highway V. That thing is still, of some concern as it moves off towards the east-northeast. So just a heads up for you folks in the Knob-Noster area. Keep an eye on that circulation as it continues to move, a little bit closer to you. Yeah, that's going to probably get close to Knob-Noster. Again, we haven't heard of anything on the ground at this point with it, but there could be a little something trying to come down. It probably won't last for all that long, but that's awfully close to Knob-Noster. So if you live in the Knob-Noster area, obviously an area heavily involved with our military and the Air Force Base out there, Whiteman Air Force Base in particular. If you live in some of those apartments around Whiteman Air Force Base, want you to be in your safe spot. Timing on that, Whiteman Air Force Base by about 12:30, Knob-Noster by 12:31, Lamont by about 12:38. And again, that's going to bring Pettis County into things as we take another big old power hit here. That's going to bring Pettis County into things. So this would be along Highway 127. So if you live in Lamont, Knob-Noster, Whiteman Air Force Base, particularly Knob-Noster, Whiteman Air Force Base, want you to go ahead and take cover from this storm. Looks like the worst of that particular rotation is going to pass south and east of Warrensburg. All right, so right now Warrensburg getting a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning, locally heavy rains. But again, if you live south of Warrensburg, that area of rotation is just towards your south and east. I'll give you a little bit of a storm track as well for this, or actually a distance, if I will, about 7 miles towards the southeast of Warrensburg. So it looks like the circulation part of this particular cell is going to pass southeast of Warrensburg, but head towards the Knob-Noster Whiteman Air Force Base area. So again, for all you military families out there, make sure you're taking cover from this storm. Jacob.
Okay, thanks, Joe. So Joe's been watching that storm down in Johnson County, Missouri. I'm watching the storm up here in Lafayette County between Higginsville and Concordia. So these are kind of the two zones of rotation that we're watching with active tornado warnings until about 12:30. So this tornado here north of Concordia has just crossed over State Highway AA and about to cross 23 highway between Alma and Concordia. So this is now on the north side of Interstate 70. We still have some rotation here, and this is moving up towards Blackburn if this is going to hold together here. And it looks like we might be getting a severe thunderstorm warning downstream of this. I want to look at our wind mode here again to make sure that we don't have any tight rotation. There's still some indications that we could have a brief touchdown here on the north side of Concordia, north of I-70. The latest wind speeds here, about 70 miles per hour. as it's crossing 23 Highway north of Concordia. So again here, eastern Lafayette County, let's still be in our tornado safe place as long as this tornado warning is in effect, because we could have a spin up. These spin up quickly, can touch down, lift, and then retouch down again. So they can kind of hop up and down along the ground as they move off towards the east and northeast. So those are the zones we're watching here. And we'll see soon if our colleagues down at the National Weather Service will extend either of these warnings into Pettis or Saline counties. So they're both nearing the county line. So it looks like our stronger rotation is in Johnson County, Missouri. Still, Concordia north, stay in your tornado safe place. I do want to get back to this southern storm because it's approaching the Air Force Base. So people near Whiteman, Nomnoster, Burtville, again, hopefully you're in your tornado safe place. We've been telling you now for about 10-15 minutes, give you some lead time to seek shelter. And if you have anyone that is down near the base that may not be awake or weather aware right now, go ahead and give them a call to seek shelter in an interior room or basement if they can, say for about 15 minutes until this severe weather threat passes. On our rotation tracker, our Fox 4 rotation tracker, I'm seeing decent signs here right over Burtville that the possible tornado is going to track just on the south side of Whiteman. It's going to be a very close call though. So Whiteman Air Force Base should be seeking shelter, 23 Highway South, Burtville, Owsley there, all in your tornado safe place as this strong storm moves through. So there's another power hit. There we come. Just off for a moment there as we continue to track 2 tornado warnings. So I'm going to give you a wider view here in the Kansas City metro. Again, if you're just joining us or just waking up with some of the loud thunder and lightning around the city, we have been removed from the tornado watch. So that is good news here inside the 435 loop. Jackson, Clay, Cass, Bates County, all gone from the tornado watch. Kansas side is gone from the tornado watch as well. It does look like we now have a new tornado warning, and this is extended from Lafayette and towards Saline County. So this is one of the storms that I was watching. This is the one that's on the north side of Concordia, tracking up towards Mount Leonard, Elmwood, Malta Bend here over the next couple of minutes. And this new warning, as I shift here to the new warning, is going to go until 1 a.m. for Alma, Blackburn, Elmwood, and Malta Bend. And this is just under 2,000 people as the rotation is about to cross through Blackburn. So this still showing signs of rotation as we zoom in and look at our wind mode. I'm still seeing here, and it looks like our wind may be one scan behind. The rotation more likely over Blackburn right now, but these greens and reds close together still showing to me that we're seeing rotation here. And again, when we're looking at our wind mode on Fox 4 radar, the reds are going away from our radar, which is in Pleasant Hill. The greens are going toward the radar. And just like when you take a pencil between your hands that are going in opposite directions, the pencil will rotate. So air that's moving in different directions starts to rotate there in the middle, and that's where we get some of these brief spin-ups as the line moves off towards the east. So there's the rotation nearing Blackburn, about to cross into Saline County. So Elmwood, Mount Leonard, Salt Springs, go ahead and get to your safe place right now. This is about to cross 23 Highway and 127 Highway. That's where this tornado would be. So we're watching these 2 storms. A wider view still showing the active tornado warnings right now for Lafayette, Saline, and Johnson County. And the latest tornado warning goes until 1 a.m. There's still this storm down towards Whiteman Air Force Base.
Yeah.
And Joe, are you keeping a close eye on this?
I am. I'm keeping an eye on that. It still looks, reasonably healthy. Got a storm track on this one for you as well. That's near the Nomnoster Whiteman Air Force Base area. And again, I don't want to downplay it, but I don't want to overplay it either. We've gotten no reports of any tornadoes despite all these different tornado warnings. We think there may have been perhaps one, perhaps around Oric, but we haven't seen any reports of damage or anything like that. I will update you and say, according to Evergy, about 18,000 customers are without power, particularly around the heart of Kansas City. So we do have quite a few power outages, probably because of all the lightning, maybe some of the stronger straight line winds. But again, here's the little notch that we're watching right in through there. It's heading up towards Nomnoster. This is 50 Highway. All right, so it's just towards the south and west of 50 Highway, moving into Pettis County. All right, so Pettis County right now, not under a tornado warning. Wouldn't be shocked if that changes. So I want to give a heads up to Houstonia. All right, again, you don't have to take cover right this second, but you know that thing is heading towards you at 12:46. We're watching it. Let's just say it's kind of on our watch list, and we'll continue with this tornado warning east of Warrensburg towards Whiteman Air Force Base, and then down and north of Leeton. That's going to go up until, if memory serves, 12:30 to 12:45 in that general range. As far as the remainder of the area goes, particularly, you know, again, for those of you waking up with these loud rumbles of thunder around the metro severe weather risk is done. As a matter of fact, the rain is going to be ending here very quickly. We've got a couple of spotty cells down towards Ottawa, south of Lawrence. Some good rains right now, St. Joe, Plattsburgh, Excelsior Springs. Those long rumbles of thunder, very common during this type of situation. We've had a few of those here at the station. But the line itself goes very close and just towards the west of 65 Highway, Chillicothe, Braemar, near Carrollton. All right, now involving eastern Lafayette County. Western Lafayette County, you're done. Your severe weather threat is over. Eastern Johnson County on the Missouri side, you're still in it. Western Johnson County, Warrensburg westward, your severe weather threat is over. Clinton westward, your severe weather threat is over. All right, Butler, Archie, Harrisonville, Lee Summit, this entire area, all of eastern Kansas, now some of these western Missouri counties, your severe weather threat over as well. But again, we still have these little leading edge type areas of rotation that we're watching. And I want to also take you down into northern St. Clair County just to see how they're doing down there. We've got a tornado evidently on the ground. That would be further on down towards the south. That Lowry City area, that tornado warning continues until 12:45. This is not our viewing area, but this is down towards 54 Highway, very popular road heading towards Camdenton. All right, we've got a confirmed tornado on the ground. That would be down towards Table Rock Lake, that general vicinity. Let me check in with Springfield, see what's going on down there. Confirmed tornado on the ground. Where are you? Near Bolivar. Sirens going off down there. So Cedar, Dade, Hickory, and Polk County. Again, not quite our viewing area, but at least these storms do still have that ability of producing a tornado as they continue to move generally off towards the east. So that's further south of our region. The main area that we have of concern right now is what's going on eastern Lafayette County into Saline County, west of 65 Highway, and then that little cell that is still continuing that tornado warning. That would be around the Warrensburg area, and I want to check in with that, put some velocity data on there as well for you, just to kind of give you an idea. Yeah, it's still definitely still there, no doubt about it. Again, we haven't gotten any confirmed touchdowns, but middle of the night, this is a very treed area. Not a lot of folks live around there. Looks like now passing south of Knob Noster. But that general area, there's still something going on down there that we're watching. And that's why I want you folks in Pettis County, 50 Highway, north, south, western Pettis County, north of Green Ridge, near and south of Houstonia, in that general vicinity. I want you folks to be prepared to take cover just in case a tornado warning comes for Pettis County. Let's go a little further up the line, check in with Jacob.
Yeah, so Joe, you were looking at that tornado warning down near Whiteman Air Force Base. I just want to give an update on this Saline County warning. This has moved out of Lafayette County, and if there's going to be a spin up, it's now along 20 Highway in eastern Saline County between Elmwood and Mount Leonard. And so I want to zoom in here and show where we have possible rotation and maybe a brief touchdown here. Highway BB and Highway 20. Again, our wind mode here might be one scan behind, but what I'm seeing is this little notch there near Elmwood and Blackburn. So Mount Leonard, Salt Springs should be in your safe place right now. I'll put a storm track on this as it moves towards central Saline County. That puts it towards Mount Leonard, 1237, and Malta Bend at 1241. So that's this northern storm. It looks like that the rotation that we've been watching down near Whiteman Air Force Base is currently right on top of the base or has just passed through there. The notch that I'm seeing here indicates to me that we may have had a quick touchdown or a possible spin up along the leading edge of this line. right here, because we're getting inflow. The green is, say, a lower rainfall, and that's coming in here. We're getting rotation just to the east now of D Highway and Y Highway, and now about to cross the county line into Pettis County. So we'll see if the National Weather Service continues to move this downstream. Our rotation tracker here on Fox 4 radar is still indicating that right there around the Whiteman Air Force Base area, there's still some pretty good rotation, and there's their new tornado warning that the National Weather Service has just taken downstream for Pettis County. So this includes Lamont, Dresden, Hughesville, Georgetown, Newland, and areas just north of Sedalia on 65 Highway. This tornado warning going until 1 a.m. as the tornado that could be possibly near Whiteman Air Force Base is crossing the county line and about to cross 50 Highway and 127 Highway. So near Lamont, that is where a tornado is going to be here at any moment, because it's been a few seconds or a minute or two since we've gotten this latest radar scan. So the rotation here on possible tornadoes just going to be on the leading edge of this storm. That is where it would be, just east of Nomnoster on 50 Highway. So Lamont, Hughesville, Dresden. Let's go ahead and seek our safe place right now. And I'm going to put a storm track on this. It's moving at, say, about 40 miles per hour. And that puts the arrival for Lamont at 12:38. You don't have much time to seek shelter. Dresden, 12:43. Hughesville, 12:49. Georgetown, 12:50, and Newland at 12:56. Again here, Pettis County from Sedalia north up towards Hughesville, and a tornado warning until 1 a.m. Go ahead and seek your safe place. That's an interior room, the lowest level of your home, preferably a basement, but just get as many walls between you and outside as possible, even for these quick spin-ups or even straight line damaging winds. So we're watching this tornado warning. Joe, do we still have the active tornado warning further north?
Yeah, we still technically have that. I just wanted to just kind of get a little more street label identification for you for this storm down towards Lamont. US 50 right there, there's Highway D, so that area of rotation would be just towards the east of Highway D. This is now passing south and east of Nomnoster, so for those of you in your safe spot in Nomnoster, you can come out now. All right, you're going to be okay. But for you folks in Lamont, I want you to take cover. This is Highway 127, all right, Highway Y. So between Highway Y, US 50, that's roughly the corridor that we want you to be paying attention to. That would include Lamont, all right, over the next 15, 20 minutes or so, Dresden perhaps. As this all continues to move off towards the east-northeast. For you folks out towards the northwest corner of Pettis County, again, that warning goes until 1 a.m. 1 a.m. For most of the northern, north-central, west-central Pettis County. Technically does not include the northwestern part of Pettis County. For you folks in Johnson County on the Missouri side, that circulation is pretty much right on the county line right now. So I'm going to go ahead and clear out Johnson County from that tornado warning. You're still under it for a little while longer, but again, that circulation pretty much now right on the county line. And with everything moving along at close to 40 or 50 miles an hour, it should be now crossing over the county line, moving into Pettis County. We still need to get all this activity east of 65 Highway, and that's going to probably take at least another 45 minutes or so. Jacob?
Yeah, Joe, so we did also get a new tornado warning for Benton County, further south on 65 Highway. You were giving an early heads up to Benton County about 10 minutes ago, and this new tornado warning goes until 1 a.m., including Warsaw, Lincoln, and Cole Camp. So this is where we have rotation moving in from St. Clair County, and it's about to near Warsaw and 65 Highway. So I do want to zoom in on this down near Warsaw and pinpoint where there's going to be that possible rotation or a spin-up tornado with this. Here it is, just near Valley View, and I'm going to even put the rotation just a little bit ahead of this because our wind mode here is a scan behind. It's going to be the possible tornado here along 7 Highway, just west of Warsaw. So Warsaw, go ahead and go to your tornado safe place right now. If you live along 65 Highway here in central or northern Benton County, also go ahead and seek your tornado shelter currently as we have this possible tornado moving through Benton. I do want to put a storm track on this and show you an ETA for this arrival. Warsaw 12:49, so less than 10 minutes until the circulation is just near or on downtown Warsaw. Lincoln at 1 a.m., Cole Camp just after 1:10, and Crockerville by 1:15. So this is a zone of possible rotation that we're going to have to watch as well. So I do want to kind of zoom out here just for a moment and show the wider view of our active watches and warnings. Again, as we've mentioned several times, the Kansas City Metro has been removed from the tornado watch, so that's good news. It also looks like we still have 2 active tornado warnings, one in Pettis County, one in Saline County, and also one in Benton County. So 3 active warnings here on our row of western counties as we pushing into, or eastern counties rather, pushing here into central Missouri. So Warsaw, surrounding areas in Benton County, you should be in your safe place. Areas just north of Sedalia and central North Pettis County, you should be in your safe place. And areas from Marshall back to the west to the Lafayette County line, you should be in your safe place. Now we still have the tornado watch until 4 a.m. and the line of tornadoes is extending all the way down into the Ozarks, all the way down towards Branson. There's a tornado warning and a confirmed tornado down towards Bolivar and on the north side of Springfield. So just kind of an active line of embedded tornadoes. This is the risk that we were hoping would not unfold. But now that we've entered the overnight hours, we were talking earlier, Joe was in our earlier newscast about this overnight low-level jet and the low levels of the atmosphere that's picking up, and that's what is fueling our tornado threat here this evening. And I kind of want to show you that real quick. Here's the winds, say a couple thousand feet off the ground, really coming in strong from the south, and this is the boundary where we're seeing several embedded rotating parts of this squall line of severe thunderstorms. So again, we've seen wind reports around 60 miles per hour, but it's these embedded rotations that we're watching closely. And I'll zoom in quickly here on this northern storm near Mount Leonard and Marshall. It looks like the rotation is relatively weak in this Saline County storm. Still though, well, I say that and then I zoom in here right along 20 Highway, Salt Springs, nearing 65 Highway on the north and west side of Marshall. Still some weak rotation here, so wouldn't be surprised if we see a spin up there. So that's our northernmost warning. Joe, are you keeping an eye on those southern 2 storms?
Yeah, in particular the Benton County stuff, just because of our friends down towards Cole Camp that we're keeping an eye on as well. Possibly 2 circulations with this. All right, this would be just towards the west of Warsaw. You folks in Warsaw, take cover. Probably your sirens are going off with that tornado warning that's out. Go ahead and take cover just to be on the safe side from this. Likewise, another circulation even further south of Warsaw towards the west of 65 Highway. Right now, I'm a little bit more concerned about the northern part of this, all right, just towards the west of Warsaw, just because of Cole Camp and Lincoln. All right, probably passing south of Lincoln along 65 Highway. You folks in Cole Camp, keep an eye on that. 103 would be an approximate time of arrival. Again, odds are these circulations won't last for all that long, but I just wanted to just kind of give the Benton County folks a little bit of a heads up about what's going on. As we kind of go up the line, you folks in Johnson County on the Missouri side, still technically under that tornado warning, you're done. Don't worry about that anymore. Tornado warning is over. I'm canceling the tornado warning for Johnson County over on the Missouri side. Here's that other circulation along 127. This will be north of Green Ridge, just towards the south of Lamont. You folks in Dresden, go ahead and take cover from this. All right, if you live near that 127 highway corridor over towards US 50, towards Dresden, I want you to go ahead and take cover for probably about 15 minutes or so. With the storms moving and the circulations moving at close to 50 miles an hour, it's not going to be long that you're going to need to stay in your safe spot, but it's always a good idea. About 5 miles right now towards the south and west of Dresden. So again, it's heading towards the Dresden area, so please make sure you folks in Dresden are taking cover. Looks like it'll pass southeast side of Lamont, probably south of Hughesville, and based on the current trajectory, probably towards the north and west of Sedalia. But again, let's kind of watch what's going on down here for the Sedalia area in case something tries to spin up very quickly along the leading edge of these thunderstorms as they continue to move off towards the east. It's been a process. And again, as I mentioned earlier, when you see how, at least to me, when I see this sharp edge, all right, between not much happening here, ground clutter, to what's happening here, that sharp edge. Got to watch out for those little spinnies. So we're watching, keeping an eye down towards the east of Green Ridge. If something were to pop there, that would be heading towards Sedalia and Smithton. Right now, nothing showing up, but just, pay attention to this in central and southern Pettis County as well. Again, Johnson County on the Missouri side, you're done with that tornado warning, but the tornado warning continues until about 1 o'clock or so for Pettis County towards the north and west of Sedalia, up towards Hughesville, and concerning that little area of rotation that you see just towards the south and west of Hughesville and towards the north of Green Ridge. So perhaps a little bit of a better location for you. This would be about 7 miles or so north of Green Ridge, 7 miles north of Green Ridge, and roughly 10-ish miles towards the south and west of Hughesville. Again, based on its current trajectory, it'll be heading towards the Highway 65 corridor, near, if not maybe just a little bit south of Hughesville over the coming half hour, 45 minutes or so. So by no means are we quite out of the woods yet. We're getting there, but we're not there yet because of these little circulations that persist along the leading edge. How many times have we said leading edge over the last few days? This has been a very well forecasted event, and here we are 12:45 in the morning tracking these little potential spin-ups. Jacob.
Okay, Joe, wanted to give an update. Some power outage reports coming in from Clinton County, which actually was our first tornado warning up towards, say, Plattsburgh, north of Smithville Lake. Evergy saying about a third of their customers in Clinton County, Missouri are without power, and also seeing a decent amount of power outages, over 1,000 customers or nearly 1,000 customers in Lafayette County, where we had this possible tornado move through out towards Concordia. So right now we have these 3 tornado warnings that we're watching. Joe has just walked you through all of them. One in Benton County, one in Pettis County, one up towards Saline County. And I want to kind of reset and go down towards the south to update our friends in Warsaw on the circulations that are moving through town kind of right now. So our reflectivity mode showing the notches are actually now on the east side of 65 Highway, just south of Lincoln and just east of Warsaw. So if there's going to be embedded spin-ups here, there is where they are. There's possible 3 areas of rotation. This northern one is possibly heading towards Coal Camp. So Coal Camp, we called you out about 15 minutes ago. You should be in your safe place right now. Lincoln as well. Warsaw, give it a few more minutes for these storms to move off to your east. Those are the zones here along 65 Highway where there is still some rotation. And our rotation tracker here on Fox 4 radar picking up on some of those. It's still lagging behind just a touch, which is why that rain mode is giving us the clearest picture of where the strongest circulation is. And we're going to have to keep an eye on this northern circulation. It's near Lincoln and approaching Coal Camp right now. I do just want to estimate our wind speed strength here, say about 60-mile-per-hour rotation. Almost strong enough to maybe produce a weekend quick spin-up tornado. That's how most of these are. When they're embedded in this damaging line of winds and storms that is kind of a squall line, when we have these quick spin-ups, usually they're on the weaker end of the EF scale, which means lower damage and lower wind speeds. Still, though, they can cause damage, which is why we still track them and still issue tornado warnings, the National Weather Service does, for these storms. So I want to put a storm track on this storm as it approaches Coal Camp down in northern Benton County and give an ETA of arrival there, because it's not long now as this line of storms has just crossed 65 Highway. Coal Camp, an ETA of 12:55, so less than 10 minutes now. Stay in your safe place for the next 15 minutes as this tornado warning continues until 1 a.m. for Benton County, Crockerville just after 1 a.m. And so this is our southernmost storm. We still have more storms further up towards the north there near Dresden and Sedalia. I'm still watching this little notch feature right along 50 Highway. That's where we could still see a spin up moving towards Georgetown, Newland, just south of Hughesville. And this tornado warning also continues until 1 a.m. So Georgetown, Newland, Hughesville, 65 Highway on the north side of Sedalia continue to remain in your safe place as I check in our wind mode here to see any stronger rotation. that looks pretty strong there near Dresden. And this may be the strongest rotation we have right now, Joe. And that's coming in 50 highway just north of Sedalia.
Yeah, we're keeping an eye certainly on that. And, I've been here now for, in Kansas City almost 30 years. Got to say, these last 2 or 3 weeks, we've probably done more continuous weather coverage than we have since I've been here. And it's just one of those things that we're kind of watching during the course of our severe weather season. This is a more traditional severe weather season, something we really haven't seen all that much of here in the Plains over the last 5 years at least, going back to the Linwood tornado. I wanted to show you our 1-hour tornado predictor, still throwing out some probabilities. They're not overly high. That might be kind of taking into account the fact that these tornadoes, if they even form, are very small, very short-lived, typically don't do a lot of damage, not very large, but we're still getting some probabilities of tornadoes out towards that 65 highway corridor. And again, any one of these storms that has a little eddy on the leading edge of it, these little mesovortices, that's why we're sort of concerned about what they can do. So far, I haven't had really any reports of what they have done of any significance aside from knocking out some power and stuff like that, particularly down towards the Kansas side, parts of the metro, I should say, roughly under about 19,000 folks now reporting no power, at least 19,000 customers. Wanted to remove some of our ground clutter. Again, for the metro, we're done. All right, this is some pretty good rain, though, coming down around Cameron, those long rumbles of thunder, still getting some lightning from some of this activity up towards Cameron, up towards Clinton County, up towards DeKalb County, Grundy, Gentry County as well, that whole area up there. Grundy, Trenton reported a 57-mile-an-hour wind gust, some power outages up into Harrison County, roughly about 600 people, customers without power. But again, you could see the leading edge now pushing into that 65 highway corridor, and we were timing it out for the most part today. As we were doing our newscast, we were timing it out to approach 65 highway by roughly 1 o'clock or so in the morning, between 1 and 2, and here it is, 12:51, and we're right along 65 highway, the leading edge. So we continue to monitor these storms as they are pushing through the eastern portion of our viewing area right now. So still some tornado warnings out there. I'm going to focus our attention in particular into this one that is still involved with Pettis County. We continue to have, it's a decent little looking notch there that we're watching for the Pettis County area. That actually looks, pretty decent right now. That would be just towards the west-south or west-northwest of Sedalia. That tornado warning now is on the northwest side of Sedalia, but you kind of see right in through there, east of Knob Noster, right along that 50 highway corridor. Definitely a little area of concern. The tornado watch, or tornado warning, I should say, again, this involves the northern portion of Sedalia up 65, coming out of the Sedalia area. The concern is around Dresden. We've been mentioning Dresden off and on over the last 15-ish minutes or so. So again, if you live in the Dresden area, I want you to go ahead and make sure you're taking cover from the storm. If you live along Highway H, north of Sedalia, all right, I want you to go ahead and take cover from this storm, especially towards the west of 65 highway. The rotation is sort of broad, but there's still something's going on there along, and here's the new update for you, and actually it looks like it's broadened out just a little bit more from a velocity standpoint. So certainly something that we're watching. It's got a little inflow notch to it. There's no doubt about that. So, let's pay attention to it. Just watching it. Highway H, that's where we've got our tornado warning into the Dresden area. If you live out towards Lamont, heavy rain, lots of lightning, lots of thunder, but your tornadic threat for Lamont is over with. If you live north and east of Dresden, or northeast of Dresden, towards 65 highway, north of Sedalia, that's where that tornadic threat will continue for at least a little while. And again, this would be roughly 6-ish miles towards the north and west of Sedalia, with the storm moving towards the east-northeast. through the central portion, if you will, of Pettis County. Let's get over to Jacob.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Yeah, so the National Weather Service just saying that storm you were tracking near Sedalia is probably the healthiest we've seen tonight. Would not be surprised if there is a touchdown or tornado on the ground right now in central Pettis County. We still have 2 other tornado warnings, and there's going to be kind of a reckoning here pretty soon with the warnings because all of these are set to expire here coming up at 1 a.m. So we'll see how and where the National Weather Service extends these. I'll go quickly up north into Saline County and look at this storm near Marshall. Essentially, the storm has moved out of the tornado warning, and it looks like the overall rotation in this storm has trended downward. Still a few weak eddies there right around Marshall where you might have some weak rotation. Our Fox 4 rotation tracker not picking up on a lot here up in Saline County. So that storm has moved out of the tornado warning. We'll continue to watch that, but right now I think the threat is on the lower end. Still watching this little blip right along 65 Highway nearing Coal Camp. So again, Coal Camp in northern Benton County, you should remain in your tornado safe place here for the next 10-15 minutes. This little blue blip right along 65 Highways, enough indicator to me that there's still some decent rotation in this that could produce a quick spin up tornado. And I'm even seeing possibly a little couplet here of some winds very close to each other that are very strong. So as I query these for us, 40 miles per hour coming towards the south and east, 25 miles per hour up towards the north. That's about 65 mile per hour rotation here. And if there's a tornado, it's just crossed over 65 Highway here in northern Benton County, and it's heading up towards Coal Camp. So I do want to put a forecast track on this, ETA it out. It's going to be in Coal Camp here very soon, and that is at 12:59. So within the next 4 or 5 minutes. So again, Coal Camp, northern Benton County, remain in your safe place. Right now, our strongest tornado indication is up into Pettis County. I do want to get back to that storm here nearing Georgetown, and it's about to cross 65 Highway on the north side of Sedalia. So our wind mode right now indicating where we have winds, say possibly close to 90 mile per hour rotation. So that's pretty strong, and one of the strongest I've seen tonight as we're tracking these storms with these quick spin ups. 90 miles per hour is pretty solid for an embedded tornado, and that's what our rotation tracker is picking up on. If there's a tornado, it's where Highway H meets 65 Highway right over Georgetown. It is just on the north side outside of Sedalia, heading towards Newland, Beeman, and Highway O there, off towards the east and northeast of Georgetown. So go ahead and seek your shelter there. Joe, got an update on this?
Yeah, new tornado warning. Not surprising, it's for that Pettis County storm. So this thing is circulation, at least, tracking 6 miles north-northwest of Sedalia. So here's your new tornado warning. This will pass north of Smithton. This will pass north of Otterville. You folks towards Pilot Grove, be on the alert for this as it comes out of Pettis County and moves further off towards the east. But this is the main area of concern in terms of the best area of rotation, as Jacob just mentioned. And that tornado warning, by the way, will continue, I believe, up until about at least 1:30. Cooper, Pettis County, yeah, till 1:30, moving east at 50 miles an hour. And again, another one of those radar indicated things that we've been tracking off and on. So far, you know, and again, it's night, tough to see anything, especially along the leading edge of these things. So far, no reports of any actual touchdowns, despite all these multiple warnings. Now, we've gotten some pretty decent indications on radar that perhaps 1, 2, or 3 touchdowns may have occurred, but at least so far, we haven't heard of anything actually confirmed from any of this. Again, here's Sedalia. There's Hughesville. This is passing just towards the south side of Hughesville. All right, that's getting very close to the 65 Highway corridor. All right, towards the south, or actually towards the west of Hughesville, southeast of Hughesville, I should say. 65 Highway corridor right there. There's Sedalia. And again, you can kind of see the little notch going into that. That indicates inflow, as we've been highlighting for you off and on during the course of our coverage here. And that's what we're, you know, sort of concerned about as everything, you know, continues to mosey along. This area of Missouri is still under that tornado watch until roughly 4 o'clock or so. So we'll put a track on that part of the cell, heading towards Newland by roughly 102, Pilot Grove by 120. There's not a lot out here into the east central portion of Pettis County. So that's a saving grace, and it looks like radar just kind of updated as I was doing that little track. I wanted to kind of quickly put on a little velocity here for you just to kind of get an idea. Actually, the best velocities, and Jacob has been mentioning, it's sort of running a little bit behind, I think, probably jumping just a little further off towards the east, towards 65 Highway. So again, this area of Pettis County, I'm going to stop this too, just so it's a little less distracting. This general area right in through here is an area that we're going to be watching for at least, the next, I would probably say about 15 minutes or so. This general area right in through there is that area that we're going to be watching as these potentially tornadic cells continue to move off towards the east-northeast. So if you live in the Dresden area, give it about another 2 or 3 more minutes, you could come out of your safe spot. This will be a cell that passes the worst of which towards the north and east of Sedalia. Now it looks like if you live from 65 Highway West, you're clear. All right, so 65 Highway West, you're clear from all of this, so don't worry about any more threats of severe weather. And it actually looks like sort of rotation may be broadening out just a little bit, perhaps not quite as focused as it was just a little while ago. Now, in fairness, we're shooting roughly 5,000 feet up into the atmosphere from our radar site in Pleasant Hill, and you can't miss what's going on at the surface when the radar beam is up there and the surface is down there, and you got about 5,000 feet in between. So we could see the rotation with this, but what we don't know for sure is if there's anything actually on the ground. So to be on the safe side, this is happening at night, we need to just kind of be overcautious with this situation. If you live in the Sedalia area, you're clear from this. All right, Sedalia area, you are now clear from this tornado warning. Again, a couple of little areas that we're watching, perhaps none of them producing a tornado right now, but it's something that we need to kind of keep an eye on for the next about half hour or so with this tornado warning going until about 1:30. That includes western portions of Cooper County. Here's the county line, and then once it crosses over into Cooper County, that becomes more of a responsibility for our friends over towards Columbia and the television stations there. Jacob.
Okay, thanks, Joe. So I just wanted to give you an update here that tornado warning that you've been tracking there east of Sedalia is now our only tornado warning. So that's good improvement here. We still have this line of severe thunderstorms from Chillicothe to Marshall down towards Cole Camp, but the tornado warnings in Saline and Benton counties have been allowed to expire. So we're still watching this one storm moving away from us towards Cooper County. But in general, the severe risk is winding down here over the next 30 minutes or so. Again, just a reminder here, if you're waking up in the middle of the night wanting to get an update, the Kansas City Metro, all of our counties have been dropped from the tornado watch, and I expect the rest of us to be dropped from this tornado watch here pretty soon. So the line of storms is now moving into central Missouri, away from Kansas City, away from the state line, and we still just have this one tornado warning for parts of Pettis and Cooper County, where we have rotation on the east side of Sedalia and 65 Highway. Now, the good news is that the rotation is actually weakened just a little bit. And this storm, there's still kind of 2 zones that I'm watching. The National Weather Service saying there's one right along 50 Highway and one further north right along Highway HH. So these are the 2 zones. Both are crossing Highway O, one closer to Smithton on 50 Highway, one closer to Beeman between Newland and Beeman. And both of these circulations are tracking off towards the east. So Clifton City, Otterville, parts of western Cooper County need to be in their safe place now. Sedalia, downtown Sedalia is in the clear. Wait until this passes Highway O, though, for folks who live, say, along 65 Highway. So this is moving off towards the east. I'll put a forecast track on it, and this is ideally going to be out of our area pretty soon, and this should be the last warning we have to cover for you tonight, and then our severe risk will be done into tomorrow morning. We have sunshine on the way tomorrow, so that's something that we can look forward to. Beeman here, 103, that is right now. And then across the county line over towards Smithton, or Clifton City rather, by 110, Otterville by 112. So I really think within the next 10 minutes, this rotation is going to be across the county line away from Pettis into Cooper. And so our friends here in Pettis County, we will be done with our severe weather threat for us locally. The good news is that, again, this is moving off towards the east, and behind this line of storms, once the line of storms is passed through, the severe red is essentially done. We still have some rain and some thunder across parts of the metro. The heaviest rain ending now in Lafayette, Johnson, and Henry counties. There's still a couple of tornado warnings further south, and it does look like we have a new tornado warning up off towards the east of Marshall. So we still have, this is a new circulation that we're watching in parts of Saline County.
Yeah, that just came out. Tornado warning in effect for southeastern Sheridan County, southeastern Saline County. That goes until 1:30 for that particular warning. But that's really kind of getting truly on the fringe of our viewing area. Once we get past 65 highway, things kind of really tend to scatter out for us. Again, just to reiterate, as Jacob has mentioned off and on, for those of you who are concerned about these thunderstorms, loud rumbles of thunder towards the west of the main line, Caldwell County, down into Ray County, down into Lafayette County, Johnson County on the Missouri side, down further south of there. This area has been cleared for severe weather. Don't worry about bad storms overnight tonight. Dog might still be freaking out with the rumbles of thunder that we still have going on. But for the metro, eastern Kansas, now encompassing more and more of western Missouri, you are now clear of that severe weather threat. We knew this would be a quick hitter, and that's essentially what we've seen with these storms. But again, we still have these 2 tornado warnings that are out there that we still need to be alerting you about before they get out of Pettis County in particular. Here's Sedalia. This warning technically includes Sedalia. Boy, it sure looks like the leading edge is well off towards the east of Sedalia at least. So I think Sedalia, you should be all right. Now, east of Sedalia, just northwest of Smithton, watch that, watch this, watch that. Again, any one of those little guys might produce a very short-lived tornado. The rotation not looking all that great, but it's there, and it's heading towards the county line. As a matter of fact, it's right now just about, give or take, about 6 miles away from the county line, 6 miles away from the county line. So it should kind of cross out of the county of Pettis, I would probably say in the next 15-ish minutes. As we go a little further up the line, there's Marshall. All right, here's Slater. A couple of circulation areas that we're watching. You folks in Slater, go ahead and take cover from this. There's 240, 65 to 41 towards Arrow Rock. You folks out here should probably take cover from this, likewise towards Cambridge. But that's something to watch. Again, the radar beam shooting pretty darn high into this cell, but it's something to watch. Likewise, maybe just towards the north and west of Arrow Rock. This has cleared the Marshall area. So, essentially 65 Highway West, 41 Highway West, you are done with your severe weather threat. The main concern now is over towards the Slater area and perhaps just towards the north and west of down here towards Arrow Rock. Jacob.
Okay, Joe, so yeah, these 2 warnings that we're watching continue to move away from our area. The National Weather Service saying they're watching some circulations north of Marshall, maybe up towards Brunswick into Chariton County. That's outside of our area. The good news is down in Pettis County, our latest update on this tornado warning has now removed Sedalia from the warning. So the rotation, I'll circle it again for you, is just now crossing the county line into Cooper County. So Pettis County, we are now all clear. This is now moving up 135 highway between Otterville and Pilot Grove, eventually into central Cooper County. So this is moving away from us in Pettis County. Again, Joe was watching that storm further north in Saline County, right now near Slater, Cambridge, Arrow Rock. Those are moving off towards the east. And we'll look at our Fox 4 rotation tracker. We may see a little bit out there towards, say, Saline City, or the river there, but generally the rotation in both of these storms has actually trended downward. We can look at our exclusive Fox 4's tornado predictor here over the next hour. This will continue to march away from our viewing area. Northern Missouri, still keeping an eye on some of those, but that's heading towards the Kirksville area. So essentially what's going to happen here is we're about to hand off these tornadoes into central Missouri. So Columbia and Jefferson City will continue to cover these tornadoes. But again, the severe weather threat for the Kansas City metro has ended. This line of strong thunderstorms has had embedded rotations for over 2 hours now. This started back when the line was crossing the state line from Kansas into Missouri. And this overnight low-level wind just picked up and started to essentially make everything try to rotate, which is what we were forecasting could happen in some of the storms tonight. So we still have these 2 tornado warnings moving off towards the east. I'll pull up our watches and warnings so you can kind of see where we still have these in effect. So the tornado warnings moving away from Saline County, away from Pettis County, and we still have the tornado watch that will likely be dropped soon for Lafayette, Johnson, Henry, St. Clair counties. Ray County, Davies County, Caldwell County should all be dropped from the tornado watch soon. The Kansas City metro has been dropped from the tornado watch. We still have severe thunderstorm warnings from Lake of the Ozarks up towards Marshall to Chillicothe, but even those severe thunderstorm warnings are exiting our area as well. So all around, slowly starting to see things improve here. I do want to give you kind of a wider regional view and show the active thunderstorms. Look at this. This is a big line of severe thunderstorms from Des Moines all the way down to Tulsa. Several severe thunderstorms with this. Tornado warning still in Oklahoma, up in Iowa, here across central, western, and southern Missouri. And so this is the storm system that we were anticipating to move through overnight. Tornado watches continue from Fort Smith, Arkansas, Ada, Oklahoma, all the way now into St. Louis in a tornado watch, including up towards Des Moines and parts of Quincy. So the severe weather threat continues to move off to our east as these final 2 tornado warnings are essentially out of our area, and it looks like the rotation is now crossing those county lines as well. So here's what that looks like. Again, the rotation, the notches that I'm seeing, one near Pilot Grove, that's in Cooper County, and one just passing over Cambridge out of Saline County. So improvements here, these 2 warnings going until, or the southern one going till 1:15, this northern one for Saline County until 1:30. But I wouldn't be surprised here in the next moment or two, Joe, if Pettis and Saline counties are completely dropped from the tornado warnings.
Yeah, so that one cell that's down there towards the extreme eastern part of Pettis County, broad rotation right now. This is north of Smithton. There's the county line. And for information, if you know anybody in central or eastern Missouri, they have now been placed into a tornado watch until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's more towards central and eastern Missouri. But once we could get these storms just a little further east by a couple of miles, then, for the most part, Pettis County, you'll be done. Sedalia points westward, you are done with the threat of severe weather. So certainly some good news for those areas as you continue to get kind of cleared out from this whole mess. It's been a weird night, I guess you could say, with I'd probably say about a dozen different tornado warnings for various counties, particularly over on the Missouri side, as we often see with these type of situations during the mid to late evening hours into the overnight hours. Seems like Missouri lights up pretty good with tornado warnings. But so far, knock on glass, haven't heard of any confirmation of any tornadoes. We have had power outages. About 600 folks or 600 customers down towards Benton County without power right now. Upwards of 20,000, give or take, around the metro losing their power for this evening, including parts of Olathe, as well as other areas around Kansas City. Maybe not so much because of the strong winds, but perhaps because of all the vivid lightning knocking out transformers, stuff like that, perhaps some power lines coming down as well. So it's been one of those weird nights. It's been, I think, very well telegraphed to you. Thankfully for the metro, aside from the heavy rain, maybe a 40, 45 mile an hour wind gust, that seems to be the worst that we've seen out of this particular situation. And, from a report standpoint, I'm going to just plot this up and just kind of see what we've got, and it's not much. Not a lot of reports. I'm going to extend this out maybe out to 12 hours just to see. So far, we've got that wind report from earlier in the evening. towards Baldwin City with the power line down. And we have seen power lines knocked around, maybe some power poles coming down. I want to check in with Evergy here real quick just to see how we're doing with our outages. But, you know, for the most part, Kansas City per se is, you know, doing okay with these severe weather events. North, south, west, line of storms comes through, knocks out power. Right now we've got about 15,000 customers on Evergy's website that are without power. I think earlier Independence Power was reporting about 1,000 folks, customers without power. So that seems to be about the worst of it, along with the real heavy rains, maybe some very localized flooding, but with the storms moving at close to 50 miles an hour, even from a flooding standpoint, we really didn't see, you know, anything too crazy with all of this activity pushing through the Kansas City area, despite, again, all these different tornado warnings. Still have 2 of them out there. The one, I think that one now is crossed over into Cooper County. Let's clear out Sedalia. Sedalia, I think you're going to be okay. Anything, you know, from Pettis County westward now looks like the worst is off to your east. And the worst now for this Slater, or the Saline County storm, you know, there still might be a little circulation somewhere in there, maybe, but that's even getting kind of tough to see. So I think, Jacob, yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up our coverage. We'll keep an eye on things for eastern portions of Saline County just in case, but I think overall, if you live in Sheraton, take cover from that storm just to be on the safe side for about 10-15 minutes or so, but then it's going to pass further off towards the east. Let me just check in on this latest tornado warning that's come out. This will be for Sheraton, West Central Randolph County. That's out of Randolph County. That's out of our viewing area. So we'll send it now over to our Columbia friends, and we'll send you now back to programming.